Hello friends, this is Manshama. Today I'll be talking about the government has enforced 21 days lockdown across the country. Right, though it looks a harsh system, but definitely trust me, it is extremely needed at this moment and I appreciate that. Right, how we can, there are certain best practices and all that needs to be applied, like, by which we can control what the situation, we can, what the situation, the country which is going through, right? So there are multiple ways, not only on the monetary side, we have other side as well by which we can contribute to the nation, right? And apart from the monetary side, right? So we have to the kind of lockdown which has been put across. We have to encourage such lockdowns. We have to encourage the people for this social distancing. We have to encourage the people for social distancing in order to slow down the process of spreading this virus across. There are multiple ways. Don't just focus on the monetary side. Other than the monetary side, like whatever is in your limits, yeah, definitely you can contribute on. But other than that, even if you try to put your money all across, but if you're not following certain rules or certain steps which are spread across and everywhere, like the government, every state government, every country's government, right? Every country's government, they are teaching to the people. They are providing some kind of awareness sessions and all that. There are a lot of awareness messages and all that going across. So other than the monetary side, we have to definitely strictly follow these rules in order to save our nation, whatever the country we belongs from, right? So today I will be talking about other than that, what are the best practices needs to be applied, social distancing, encourage these lockdowns and all that. What are the impacts of these lockdowns and over the people economy, and the society, right? So I will be talking about the impact of these things on our life. So when don't consider I'm gonna criticizing the government decision. No, definitely it is definitely appreciated, but there are definitely certain chances whenever these kind of decisions are being taken, in a broader perspective, such kind of drastic decisions are being taken, that definitely there's a negative side of that, and that is understood, very well understood, right? We have to consider that. So we're just going through all the cycle which we are the countries being through. What thing I observed, as right from the beginning of the lockdown announced, and our respected PM delivered his speech. In the entire speech, I never mentioned. I found there is some communication failure. Like in the entire speech, it was never mentioned what kind of establishment will remain open or shut down. So that created some kind of gap, and the communication failure was found because of the lot of panic situation has been created. A lot of people, they were not in correct mindset, what establishment or what shops will remain open, what businesses will remain open. So it has created a lot of, not only in India, if I talk about the globally, this kind of situation has been witnessed in other countries as well. Like the people, as soon as the government has announced the lockdown, the people like us, me and you, they thought that from tomorrow onwards the country will be completely locked down. There won't be the things available for their, bread and butter, right? They rush to their market, the shops and all in order to purchase their daily stuff, right? So likewise in India, but down the line the government has clarified, not like that, but in the first beginning, right in the beginning, if it could have been created, if it could have been announced in such a way, the essential will not be closed, like milk, food and all that, vegetables, fruits and all that will not, these ATMs and all that will not remain closed, and that will be available as per need, then in that case this kind of panic situation couldn't have been created, right? So down the line the government has clarified all those things. So and we have everybody's, I think, major part of our country, there's they're respecting the decision what the government has made, but the situation which we are really going through, I have seen a lot of daily wages pay are 80% of Indians, nearly, if I say not exactly 80, nearly 60 to 65% of Indian, though they are in unorganized sector, they and the labor law or anything doesn't get implemented on their pay structure or their service kind of. So it is very difficult for them to channel it. It is very difficult for them to how will they work, like they earn on the basis of they are daily wages worker, they get the money. हमारे यहाँ एक हिंदी में कहावत है, डेली कुआं खोदते हैं, डेली पानी पीते हैं. Likewise, they have daily wages. A lot of workers in unorganized sectors, it will be difficult for them to drive them, right? So that is, if the people are working in the corporate sector, they can work remotely and all. They can work remotely, but up to a certain extent they can. But the people who are working in the transportation, tourism, and this production industry, there it is very difficult for them. It is very high impacts on all that. So definitely, but in other countries, how it is going to be handled, there are certain pieces from the government side, some financial aid is being provided, where the lockdown has been strictly put. There, the government has, they are providing certain kind of, financial privileges to the people. They are directly drawing the money in their account. They are directly creating the money to their account up to a certain extent, like till the time this coronavirus is on top, right? So in our country, even a lot of the Kerala government, they have issued nearly 20,000 crores fund for helping the people in order to help the people who are hand to mouth and they do not have any privilege, and the people who are staying at home. How will they run out? How will they maintain all their daily expenses? At least the basic expenses needed, like food, bread and butter, and that was all needed for that. They're helping. Nearly 20,000 crores has been sanctioned for that, and I think the Kerala government is working towards. Likewise, in Delhi government and UP government, they are also working towards. But instead of that, what is the ground reality? The ground reality is that the people, somewhere we have taken, somewhere we are missing, or somewhere the things are not going in the right way, because just 2-3 days before, I saw a lot of migrants people are they do not, as all the communication, all the transportation system has been completely shut down. So because of that, and people are staying on rent, and their owners, they have completely they have asked them not to stay their home. They are asking them to vacate. So this is this kind of situation that people are having. The people who are earning on daily, who are based at daily wages, they do not have money. How will they survive? For their survival itself, they do not have money. So they are rushing to their, to the native, to their village and all that. And as the buses and the trains are not there, so they are going by foot only. The entire, even the pregnant women are, walking out. So this is pretty difficult. My request from all the government, UP, MP, and Delhi, kindly just work with the ground people, work with the people how this thing, otherwise the purpose for which this entire shutdown has been done, it will be completely diverted. Our entire efforts for which this lockdown is being done, it will not be delivered. Other than that, like I see, the people who are going out, a lot of this, police cops and all that, for them also it is very difficult to identify the people to whom they should touch, to whom not, right? It is very difficult for them. Otherwise, they are using the sticks for hitting out the people, and it a lot of cases has been reported for that. People are going out, and it is very difficult for the police cops to identify they have came out, or just only for walking and all that, they have come out. So some kind of like the Delhi government has done, if you have some kind of identity, if you have your some employee ID or something, that you can store to the cops, and you can just carry with your work for which you can tell the purpose for which you have come out. I'll just give you the example of France government, what they have done there. Whenever you go out for any reason, like for your essentials, if you come out, then there is some kind of form which has been created, and you just take a print of that, fill that out, and you just write the purpose out there. If you write the purpose and show to the cops, then the cops will allow you to go out. As the purpose is not mentioned, you have the form, you have to fill that out, but as the purpose is not mentioned, then in that case the cop may fine you for 135 euros. That is how in India as well we should have some kind of mechanism by which we can track that out. In India we have 135 CR in count, but it is very difficult to trace, but definitely at the ground we'll have to work on. Every government, Maharashtra government has issued something. Maharashtra government has given certain guidelines basis of that. We have some for essential, for medical or for daily items like the food, fruits, vegetables are not for which if you go out. So you just try to avoid touching more things. You try to, as much as you can avoid, that much you have to apply new practices. And other than that, like, if apply the service providers, they're supposed to use some kind of WhatsApp mechanism by which at least because your entire crowd, entire customer will be in distributed format, so rather and it will be all across the entire day. So like you can have the order, you can just take the order over the WhatsApp, by which you can at a particular time when the crowd will not be there, by which you can have some kind of slot mechanism need to be placed on, right? So so this is what exactly needed, and we have to contribute in such a, we have to create awareness to the people, right? Because still I see a lot of people are roaming around on the road, and it is very difficult for the government, even for the state government, central government, they will not be able to help, and it may be a massive impact, definitely, in spite of the government is putting their best effort. So we have to encourage the people, we have to take our own stand, then only we can save our country and the nation. So other than that, I would like to cover a few of the points, like one more thing, like once we definitely we our daily needs, a lot of things are there in our queue for for our daily needs, but if we can minimize our needs for the time being, if we can minimize with if we can just go with the minimized stuff, then that will be also good. And when I talk other than that, like we have to come up with a pure guidelines. It's not like a lot of unbalanced situation, or kind of like this, that the central government has to pass, or the has to take the clear stand, or has to be clear-cut guidelines for the state government all across. It's not like just somewhere in some state the market would remain open for 3 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours, and somewhere come to 4/7, like that Maharashtra government has announced, like Maharashtra and Karnataka, I think Maharashtra government has announced, like 24/7 that essentials will remain open. But in like Uttarakhand government, they have announced nearly only for 3 to 4 hours the shops will remain open. So this is kind of unbalanced situation. In 3 or 4 hours, what we will do? So we have to come up the common platform, or the common message supposed to go to all the state governments, and that has to be centrally driven by the central government, right? We should have some kind of mechanism like that. It's not like whatever the state government wants, we will go with that way. And it's very difficult for the cops as well, right? It is very difficult for the cops, because in our country, all the time the cops are like, they are giving in and out, and they are just sitting on road and just watching out the people, and so it is very difficult for them to trace out. So we have to have some kind of mechanism, or some kind of, and it has to be governed by the central government. And other than that, like establishment I have already talked about, and other than that, I would like to a few points I would like to touch upon. And once one more thing, the police should not understand, police should not supposed to understand the public in a very suspicious way, because looking at the things, but somewhere from the police perspective it is good, but they have to cooperate with the public as well by hitting out with the sticks and all that. Definitely it is going to create some negative environment. That is what in a number of cases has been reported in across several states, but in order to maintain the law and order situation, in order to maintain the order which has been issued, in order to maintain this lockdown thought, we have to respect that. But this is my request from the police officials as well. Kindly cooperate with the people. Don't use the sticks and all that. Just try. A number of cases that I have seen where police cops are making the people to understand. They are politely cooperating with the people, and they just make them understand like how it is going to, if the public doesn't cooperate, then in that case how it is going to impact the nation. So we have to make some, some polite way. We have to apply some polite practices for via our cops and the police officers, and lockdown situation. And and one more thing, like whatever the meets, or if you have an employee, if you are keeping an employee maid servant and all that, if you are not calling them out, and due to this coronavirus you have just sent them on leave, then please do not deduct their salary. Do not deduct their salary, because at this time it is extremely needed to support the people. So don't send them on the paid leave, and don't deduct their salary, and give this, if as and when required, please support them financially in all their way around. And free ration and various schemes has already been announced by various states, but other than that, if you can wherever you see, like in your state, if any such kind of schemes are available, but if the people are not getting benefit, you just try to connect with the people via phone and show them the path, like how they can get privileged, how they can get avail those services which has been raised by the government, with local government, right? So you just help them out. Other than that, I think you're already aware with all things going on. Only my request from all of you, can I just keep supporting the people for this in this tough time, and stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.